Hi everybody, welcome to YS Khong Driving, and we have before us today the facelifted Mazda 2 2020 model. So mechanically it remains basically the same except for some minor changes in specs, but in the front you get a new grille and front mask, new bumper and new headlights. The rest, the body remains the same, whilst at the back you get some new lights. Okay, let's do a very quick walk around the car with a new front. It also comes with a different set of wheels. These are 16-inch wheels with 185/60 series tires, and you get ventilated discs in the front, and the suspension is McPherson struts. Then you get a 4-door body, actually a 5-door. There's another door at the back, and you get to the rear, you see the same 16-inch wheels, they're the same size, and this time the rear brakes are a solid caliper and the rear suspension is a torsion beam. So McPherson strut and torsion beam suspensions are very consistent in cars of this category. This is a B segment hatchback, and there's also a sedan version. Two cars are priced the same and there's only one spec. So at the back you see the new set of headlights, but basically the body is the same, and this is the facelifted Mazda 2 for 2020. Okay guys, let's take a drive in the Mazda 2, but before we start, okay, just note here it's 13.2 kilometers per liter. I'm going to reset the fuel consumption. And so guys, we've set the meter at 0. We're going to drive around, do a bit of city driving, and we'll also do a bit of highway driving, and we'll try to get some mixed fuel consumption and see what you can get in a real world situation. Yeah, we're going to drive the car like normal. Okay, so for a start, we're going to drive around the city and we're going to head towards Puchong from Petaling Jaya, and we're going to do a bit of driving on the highway on the way to Puchong. But what we're going to do is we're going to drive like a normal driver would drive this car, and we'll see what type of fuel consumption we can get. So even now it's 10.4 kilometers per liter, because we started out, yeah. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use a normal throttle, or a little bit lighter throttle than normal, yeah. So you drive the car gently and see what you can get. Okay, so guys, this is the 2020 facelift edition of the Mazda 2, and what it comes with is similar mechanicals to the outgoing model, but it has a new front grille, new headlights and a new bumper, plus new tail lights design. So basically it is a refreshed look. Inside, I haven't tested the old one, but what I notice here that I really like about inside is the padded dashboard. This is leather covered, and then this is the hard material dashboard, but this is the soft touch. So this soft touch looks very good, and the hard material, I'm beginning to love this hard material because I'm building old cars, and old cars with soft materials, well, they crack and they split and they get deterioration. So hard plastic seems to be pretty good. So that means the car can last long, yeah. And also the steering wheel, now this is very similar to a lot of the Mazdas. In fact, it looks like it's the same steering wheel, except it may be short 1 or 2 controls, but it's the same size and it's the same feel, and it feels good. So this is leather bound steering wheel, and of course the electrical power steering is pretty nice to drive. Okay, sitting position in this car is very, very good, because the steering is adjustable for reach, yeah. It's mechanical, you can adjust it for reach, You can also adjust it for height, so you can get the right combination for you, and also you can get the right sitting position, because you get seat height adjustment, and also fore and aft, and of course the normal rake adjustment on the seat. So you can play with all these adjustments, and so no matter what your height is, unless you're 7 feet tall, yeah, you can find yourself a good driving position. So it looks like Mazda has built this car for the driver, or rather the car enthusiast, and in accordance to the zoom policy or philosophy, which is to make driving enjoyable, they have centered everything around the driver. So even the aircon louvers, there are 2 for the driver, and of course there are 2 for the passenger too. But the driver gets the round dials, and he gets the air exactly where he wants it. Okay, we are going at about 68-69 kilometers per hour on the LDP, and at this speed we are going at 1,000, a little bit above 1,500 RPM. So I did some calculations yesterday and did some simulations. So at 1,000 RPM in 6th gear, you get about 45 kilometers per hour. So therefore, if you're driving at 90, theoretically your car will be going at about 2,000 RPM. Okay, I may be out by 1 or 2 kilometers per hour, but it's just an estimate, yeah. So for the driver, the most important thing is the rev counter. So it's right in front and in the center, and engine red line is at 6,500 RPM, which is a decent red line. And to make it better, we also have a head-up display that is in front of you, and you can see the speed by not having, you don't have to look at your meter. There is a speedometer here, but up there on the head-up display, and the height of the display can be adjusted, yeah, depending on your own angle of vision. You can adjust the height so you can see your speed on the head-up display. So from a driver's point of view, it's already very good. Good sitting position, nice view of the rev counter, adjustable steering, leather bound, and very nice size, about 13.5 inches, and a head-up display. Okay, to make things better, they even have pedal shifters. Now, this is really nice to have, yeah. Pedal shifters are always a luxury, but if you're driving an automatic, having pedal shifters helps a lot. It makes the car that much more fun. And yeah, the gear will shift up irregardless. If you reach the rev limit, it will shift up by itself, which I discovered yesterday during the drive to Genting. But it's here for you to play. Alright, so you have a single zone aircon, mechanical controls, which I am perfectly okay with, because these are simpler to use and it's very intuitive. Yeah, you have your aircon switch, your temperature, then you have they even have heater. You can heat up the car if you want, and they also have your speed in the center, your aircon speed, fan speed, and also where you want your air to flow. So everything is quite intuitive and quite easy to use. Now, how does it feel driving at 70 kilometers per hour? At this speed, what you are hearing now, you don't hear the engine. You don't hear anything except for the tires. Okay, I have no idea what tires they are using, but this car comes as a CBU, yeah, and these are 16-inch 185/60 series 16-inch tires. So these tires are reasonably good, and they are, it's more than enough for a B segment hatch, and it holds the road quite well. And of course, being 16-inch, they are relatively cheap to replace. Yeah, 17s, 18s, and 19s will cost more. But I can't imagine this car with 19-inch wheels now. Anyway, your driving monitor is here. There's a fuel economy monitor, and right now I just want to give you a status report. We have done 20.2 kilometers per liter, and this is what you will get if you drove this car to work. Let's say you live in Petaling Jaya and you're driving to Cyberjaya to work, which is where we are going. We're heading towards Puchong. We are right now near Kelana Jaya, and so far the reading is 20.2 kilometers per liter, which is pretty decent. Of course, if you drive very hard, it will go down. But remember, when we started the car, we had 10 point something. Well, now it's 20. So that means this engine is quite good at saving fuel, and it's starting to rain. Okay, so we get 114 horsepower, which actually translates to 118 PS and 149 Newton meters of torque. Is it enough? Well, if you're driving to work like this, it's more than enough. 50 horsepower will be fine. But of course your acceleration won't be so good lah. So with this potential of 114 horsepower, that's at 6,000 RPM, mind you, and maximum torque of 149 is at 4,000 RPM, but you are now driving at 1,500 RPM, so maybe you're using about 40% of the power, which comes to about maybe 50 horsepower. That's what you're using now. But it can still give you good fuel economy, and we are driving in the city traffic. There's no start stop yet. We're getting 20.4. It's getting better and better. I suppose if you stop at the traffic light and all, it will get down a little bit. But now it's showing 21. Okay, so to me, getting 10 to 12 kilometers per liter on this car will be not an issue. So fuel economy is pretty good. What about handling, you want to ask me? Okay, we're going around a bend. We're going at 67 kilometers per hour. No issue, If you are using this as a daily driver, handling shouldn't even be a question. How does it handle? It doesn't really matter. As long as you can drive on the road and doesn't fly off the road, well, it's drizzling a bit, and we are driving at 74 kilometers per hour in a 80 kilometer stretch. Well, it's good enough. If you want to see how it handles, watch our other video where we take the car to Uluyam and Genting Highlands at high speed, so you can see whether it handles well or not. But just for the record, you have McPherson struts in the front and torsion beams at the back, a setup that's very common amongst cars in this segment. So cars like the Vios, the Honda City, the Beza, the Myvi, a lot of these cars in this class have basically a McPherson strut and a torsion beam at the back. Now, how they set up the suspension, how it rides and all, will depend on their own design engineers and what is their design philosophy. So if it's more towards the performance side, it will tend to be stiffer. If it's more for the comfort side, it will be a bit softer. Most of them try to go for a combination like middle of the road arrangement. So similarly, this car looks like it's made for middle of the road arrangement to give you the best combination between performance whilst cornering and also driver and passenger comfort. So right now it's just me in the car. It feels pretty nice. Of course, we're on a highway, and we took it to the jungle, or rather we took it to the high-speed cornering roads, and it handled quite well too. It's not the most beautiful handling car in the world, but it's enough. So in everything there are limitations, and this is a compromise. Now for B segment cars, usually because of the weight of the car, this car is a little bit under 1.1 tons. So because of the weight of the car and the potential cargo it has to carry, where's my smart tag? They usually have to cater for about 1.5 or 1.6 times the weight of the car, and therefore the suspension has to be a bit on the stiffer side to start with. And so if you ask me how does this car feel in terms of suspension, I would say that it's on the sportier side, firmer side of comfortable, yeah, which is basically what most cars in this category are geared for. Okay, so I have yet to see in this modern day a car that is so soft that it doesn't handle, so it's always a combination. Okay, so seats are very nice, comfortable. They have bucket seat design with some little flaps in the side there to give you side support so you don't roll around in the seat. I find it okay for me, but a bigger size person than me would be okay too. So these are what you call generic design seats with a bit of a bucket effect, but not so tight that a guy bigger than me wouldn't be able to fit in. So I slided the seat back. I'm not going to do it now, and I think a 6'5", 6'6" person would not have any problem driving this car. I wouldn't say very much for the back passenger, but well, if you're 7 foot tall, you can just about squeeze into this car and drive it. I cannot find a 7 foot model to show you this. Anyway, we are driving on the way to Puchong, and we are now near IOI Mall, and I just want to report we are showing 21 kilometers per liter. Alright, so the 6-speed gearbox. Yeah, this car has got a 6-speed gearbox, and I like that. You know why I like it? Because it gives me control, and I don't have the rubber band effect. Yeah, true, many car makers are moving to CVT because it is a fact that CVT does help promote fuel consumption, because they do a very high gear ratio at the closer to 1, yeah, at the very top, and the moment you lift off your accelerator, the CVT will take you to the top, and you will just hold it there until you need power again. So when you need power again, you accelerate, the gearing drops, you know, it's like a variable thing, and then you get more revs to give you more torque to accelerate. Of course, there are CVTs and there are CVTs, but the rubber band effect is something that they can only minimize but not eliminate. And for me, I can live with it, but if I can get a auto box, I'll get this. And of course, the auto boxes have some issues, and that is slippage. But the good thing about the Skyactiv gearbox is that it is as good as a manual. Okay, the slip is only allowed up to about 8 kilometers per hour, after which there are lock-up clutches in all gears, and this will help to minimize the slip. So you can say there's virtually no slip, and it's as good as a manual, but it works better than a manual because you don't have to shift gears. And in terms of fuel efficiency, I can tell you it is as good as a manual, yeah. And that's why, sorry to say, manuals are on the way out. I'm a manual man myself, but well, if I drive my manual, I'll be very busy. But just to let you know, we are getting 21 kilometers per liter, yeah, and we are driving in a city environment. Yeah, true, there's no traffic jam. If there's a traffic jam and you happen to be using up 1 liter while you are stuck in the jam, then it's 1 kilometer per liter. So it's actually quite senseless. Well, some of my viewers say you should do the test in the city. Well, I'm driving in a city environment, and of course there's no traffic jam, so I can't help it. But well, we're getting 21.3. Okay, so I like the gearbox. And safety features. Okay, this car has only got 2 airbags for the driver and front passenger. It doesn't say there are any other airbags, and I can't see. So for all practical intents and purposes, this car has 2 airbags. Okay, so there are people who say, hey, but 6 airbags is good. Yes, 6 airbags are good. Question is, do we really need them? For me, I'm a safe driver, so I Yeah, it's good to have 2 airbags as a minimum, because the frontal part is the part that is most what you call dangerous. I don't need the side curtains and all that. Yeah, so if you wear your seat belt properly and you drive with care and you learn how to drive properly like I did, then 2 airbags is enough. Okay, so if you want the ease of mind, then you can go and buy a car with 6 airbags or 7 airbags, but of course it also costs money lah. But anyway, this car is not cheap. Yeah, it's 103,000, and it is because it is a CBU. The car is not locally assembled, but there are enough people who want to buy it to make it a viable project, and so this car is available here as a CBU. Okay, so other than the 2 airbags, it also has of course your ABS and EBA. And the one thing that I really like about this is the hill start assist. Yeah, that means if you are on a hill and you have to take your foot off the brake to go to the accelerator, it will hold the car for a few seconds, so you don't have to worry about the car rolling back. So that's a very good point, and it's very useful to have. So good for ladies. Okay, but other than that, it also has DSC, Dynamic Stability Control, and also TCS, which is traction control. So these are there to help you to control the car in case you happen to lose it. Yeah. So those are the basics that are available. Alright guys, the speed limit on this highway I think is 90. We are going at 95 kilometers per hour. Okay, so this is, I'm going to bring it down to 90. Yeah. Okay, so this is 90 kilometers per hour, and we are on the Putrajaya highway, and let's check out the ride of the car and how it sounds. Yeah. Okay, so at 90 kilometers per hour, the car is pulling exactly 2000 RPM. So yes, correct, it's 45 kilometers per 1000 RPM in top gear, and this sounds very economical. Just a situation report on our fuel consumption. Yeah, we are getting 20.7 kilometers per liter, which brings it to a little bit under 5 liters per 100 kilometers. I think the rated fuel consumption is 5.3 liters per 100. So which means, guys, the Skyactiv engine and transmission delivers as promised, and this is the typical fuel consumption you will get. Okay, so as I was saying, our average fuel consumption now, of course we were driving slower just now, between 80 to 90, and now we are at 90 kilometers per hour. Our fuel consumption is 20.7 kilometers per liter, which brings it to slightly under 5 liters per 100 kilometers if you are used to that type of calculation. So that means the Skyactiv gearbox and Skyactiv engine with its high compression ratio, yeah, this car runs a 14:1 compression ratio, which is some ultra technology that Mazda has come up with in the Skyactiv design, and this gives the car very good fuel economy. So driven at same speeds of 90 kilometers per hour, you can consistently get 20. Right now it's come down to 20.4. Okay, so let's just take a lower figure, say 18 or 17 kilometers per liter. If you don't believe this, well, that would be pretty decent. So guys, if you're driving a Mazda 2 at this type of speed with just normal throttle, yeah, non too aggressive, this is the type of fuel consumption you can get. Of course, when you get stuck in a traffic jam or you stop at a traffic light, the consumption will go up, but this is what you get when you're driving. So for you to get an average of say 14 or 15 kilometers per liter should be quite easy to achieve. most of the time, unless you're going to work in an 8 o'clock jam. Okay, but with the new normal, 8 o'clock jams are not so jam. Okay, yeah. Let's wrap it up. We have traveled maybe about 70 or 80 kilometers, and I have got a reading of 19.7 kilometers per liter, which is pretty decent for a B segment car. In fact, if you drive a hybrid like what I was driving, you would get about the same mileage, maybe a little bit better, but not much better. And of course, this doesn't have all the issues that the hybrids will have, especially about second-hand value and battery life and battery replacement woes and things like that. So this is a car that would be very good for a person who is cost conscious about fuel consumption, yeah. And of course, it's got a direct injection engine, so it's got nice power and good response. And of course, I like the 6-speed gearbox, which would be the main reason I would buy this car, mainly for the 6-speed gearbox. Because the other stuff that this car has is pretty much the same across the board for the B segment cars. Like handling, about the same as others. Might be slightly better or slightly worse off, but it's about the same, yeah. Size is about the same. This car with a wheelbase of 2570 falls within the B segment category, right smack in the middle of it. And but what you will like about this car will be the fuel economy. It is actually a very, very economical car to drive, yeah. And so other than the 6-speed gearbox, the things that draw me to this car would be the pedal shifters, yeah. And of course, the safety features are no big deal. It's also about the same as many cars in this category. Maybe not the highest spec of all, but it's enough for what I want. Alright then, so basically that's all there is for the Mazda 2. And this new facelift, of course, looks a lot better than the old one. The new ones always look better, but it's not always the case. So guys, well, final thing about this car is the price. Might be a bit daunting for some, but it's 103,600 for the normal color. And if you want the Soul Red, that is the Mazda hero color, you have to pay another 1,000 ringgit more. That brings it to 104,600. Yeah, that's because this car is a CBU. But then guys, you have to start getting used to paying high prices for Mazda, because what they've done is they've spec'd the car up and they sell good cars too. So anyway, so if you ask me, is it worth it? Well, it will be worth it if you want the things that you can't find in other cars, like a 6-speed automatic gearbox and pedal shifters. Yeah, okay. Alright then, so that's it for the Mazda 2. I hope you didn't get too bored with my lengthy explanations. Don't forget guys, we also need subscribers, yeah. So please, if you have not subscribed, do subscribe, because it helps us to get more sponsors. Then we can continue to give you good videos like this that you can like, and also you can share. Because if you want to buy a car, well, this is one of the sources you can get to see your new cars and experience it under the new norm. Alright guys, thank you so much. Till we meet again, bye bye.